And we are back. I'm skipping the small music introduction today because we just had the drawing string before. Hope everyone's back. It's been so long. How's been doing? It's been like 30 seconds since the last stream. Long time not seeing you. All right. I hope you are ready. We have 30,000 characters to read tonight and to explain. So let's get ready. Just updating the chat. With the dashboard. All right. Tonight's presentation is the third and hopefully last part about character archetypes in the classic literature and how to use those properties in your design. 2 days ago, we watched over the different character archetype for the child part of the character. Yesterday, we started doing the mature part. The first mature part of the characters. It was basically the lover and the magician archetypes. And the warrior archetypes, sorry. The lover and the warrior archetypes. Today, we are doing the magician and the king archetype. And then we are having a small game. So, yesterday we explained that we had to start with the lover because it's generally the lover archetype transitioning the child to adult. You can look at every teenage boy or girls and see how they are going. They are run by the lover archetype. They want to experience life with their senses, have a deepest connection with life and their senses and other people in general. Then generally there is the warrior, which is basically once you have realized your connection with other, you need to fight for that. At least in classical tropes, the warrior is the one able to learn aggressivity and how to tame that and use that for good instead of using that for bad things. And that's basically when the character, instead of fighting for him or herself, is starting to fight for something bigger than the character itself. Now, the next phase of a character development is generally accessing the magician archetype, which is the one of wisdom, contemplation, knowledge, secrets, and stuff like that. This is a pretty long read, so let's get started. Many a kid goes through a magic phase growing up. He learns a few card tricks and maybe goes down to the local magic store to browse for some more elaborate tricks. Even just entering in the store is a little thrilling, as it's showing off newly learned tricks to one's family and friends. Most adults, though, outgrow their magic hobby, although not necessarily their fascination with the art. Why are people so drawn to magic? I mean, we have been growing up with Harry Potter, for example. We are so drawn to that. Same with Lord of the Rings and with The Witcher. We love those universes because there is magic in it. This is something we don't have. And basically, the attraction to magic can be traced to something much deeper than the ability to pull a rabbit out of a hat. Rather, it's rooted in what the magician's ability represents. The power that comes from the mastery of a secret knowledge and the ability to use that knowledge to manipulate tools in order to control certain elements and produce desired outcome. The yearning to harness and possess that power is what fuels the magician archetypes. An energy that every person should seek, whether or not he ever hopes to sow the person in half. What are the characteristics of the magician? First of all, he is intellectually curious, aka the holder of hidden knowledge. As Robert Mood puts it, the magician is the knower. What does he know? Secrets and hidden knowledge of all kinds. Well, this kind of knowledge sounds very esoteric. It can be more, is simply referring to any kind of knowledge that is not immediately apparent or commonsensical. It's the knowledge you learn in degrees. Its mastery takes great effort and diligence, and the reward is to be able to dwell in a realm that the average person does not have access to. Moore argues that all knowledge that takes special training to acquire is the province of the magician energy. Whether you are an apprentice training to become a master electrician and unraveling the mysteries of high voltage, or medical student grinding away night and day studying the secrets of the human body and using available technology to help your patients, or a would-be stockbroker, or student in high finance, or a trainee in one of the psychoanalytic schools, you are in exactly the same position as the apprentice shaman or the witch doctor in tribal societies. You are spending large amounts of time, energy, and money in order to be initiated into rarefied realms of secret power. You are undergoing an ordeal, testing your capacities to become a master of this power. And it is true in all initiations, and there is no guarantee of success. As you go about your studies or the day-to-day duties of your profession, you probably don't think like you are acting in a realm of secret power. But when you take a step back and consider it, whether it's how to set a bone or repair a carburetor, you probably can do things that the other are completely obscure and shrouded in mystery. For example, we are artists and a lot of people are like, oh my god, you are drawing so well, how are you doing that? That's the realm of the magician. The magician is also a master of technology. The magician is a master of technology when people learn the secret knowledge of how the world works and use that knowledge to harness its laws, energy, and forces in order to manipulate them into practical tools and systems. They are accessing the magician energy. Inventors, scientists, and just simple thinkers are examples of masters of technology. It's funny how often we imbue of our most famous inventors and creators with almost supernatural powers. For example, newspaper dubbed Thomas Edison the Wizard of Menlo Park. Legends sprouted up about Nikola Tesla and his power over electricity, and recent obituaries about Steve Jobs would even refer to his creation as almost magical. Becoming a master of technology doesn't require that we invent a device like the iPad. Instead, we simply need to create. There's a concept in the Western esoteric tradition of Hermeticism that the goal of a person should be to live the principle of as above, so below. This is sort of similar to the Christ admonition in the Lord's Prayer to make in earth as it's in the heaven, basically. Several interpretations exist as to the meaning of as above, so below, but the interpretation that I like is that it means making an amorphous thoughts, imagination, and dreams a reality. In order to accomplish this, we must use all the knowledge and tools at our disposal. In short, we must become master of technology. The magician then is reflective. The warrior is the archetype of action, but he gets his marching orders from the magician. This is the energy that powers healthy introspection when you're facing a tough decision. Your deliberations on which course to take are powered by the magician. His power comes from thoughtful reflection and meditation. The magician is like an excellent chess player. The more he experiences and studies, the more he's able to see life like a chessboard, envision all the possible moves, and predict with good accuracy when those moves will lead. This ability also generates a man's hunches and gut feeling and the spontaneous decision he makes in a time of crisis. Also, the magician is reticent. In today's society, information has been greatly democratized and people expect everything there is to be known to be available to every person. But if you tell someone that certain knowledge is sacred, secret, or just too advanced for them to understand, those persons, they are generally typically deeply offended and automatically assume that you're up to something suspicious, basically. But great teachers throughout history understood that knowledge and truth must be taught, basically precept upon precept, line upon line, here little and there little, and effective learning must be done in degrees, each advancement is earned by the mastery of the previous step. That's something we talk about when we're talking about how to learn efficiently something. You need to stick to it for a long time before moving on. Each concept builds on the other until a person has acquired perfect knowledge, basically. Those who try to jump into the deep end without first learning to swim can drown. For that reason, characters accessing the magician energy are often reticent about the knowledge they possess, only sharing it with the earnest student who continually proves he is worthy of the knowledge he seeks. The magician is an alchemist of life. The alchemists of antiquity sought to find a way to turn the baser elements into gold. And this inclination to turn a sow's ear into a purse is vital current in the magician's streams of energy. When the magician archetype is integrated in a character, this character looks for ways to turn disappointing situations and setbacks into opportunities to learn, grow, and become a better person. The magician can also be a spiritual mediator. As Moore puts it, the magician understands the links between the unseen world of the spirits, the quote-unquote divine world, and the world of human beings and nature. As the mediator between those worlds, the magician has the ability to explain complicated spiritual ideas in ways others can easily grasp. If you ever talk to a friend who used a simple metaphor to resolve your doubt, this was the magician energy at work. The magician is also responsible for initiation. There are two main roles that the energy of the magician flows through: the initiate and the initiator. In other words, the mentee and the mentor. As we just discussed, magician energy drives us to obtain hidden knowledge. But contrary to the popular adage about professional magicians that they never reveal their tricks, a person truly animated by the magician nature archetype is eager to turn around and share what he has learned with others. He desires to elevate the serious and earnest seeker to his level. This is why the lack of magician energy in apparently a lot of modern culture is at the heart of issues with many people that many people are having today. There's a lack of mature people who have made a rite of passage themselves available to initiate other person into the secret knowledge of adulthood. Before, when you look in a lot of movies, it's like daddy, mommy, granddad, grandmommy, uncles, aunts, cousins that used to teach the children and other young people how to act, dress, and behave, and some secret knowledge like, hey, grandpa, can you tell us a story about that? Can you help me repair my toy and stuff like that? But a lot of kids have grown up without such a mentor these days and just feel lost, directionless, and adrift. Yeah. Keep the example for when we are talking about that, but Tywin is an example. Is a very good example. This is not only true when it comes to being initiated into adulthood, however, but also applies into someone's professional path as well. For the most part, gone are the days of guilds and intimate apprenticeships, and trade schools have fallen in popularity. People are in fierce competition with each other today and are looking out only for themselves. Thus, there is often no one willing to initiate someone into his vocation. It is telling that apprenticeships have been replaced by internships. Instead of basically getting initiated into the job, interns are made to do the undesirable grunt work of others and then cut loose when their temporary stint is up. But that many people have an unfulfilled anger for initiation into some kind of secret knowledge that can be evidenced by the soaring popularity today of more or less legit mentors, social media gurus, personal development coach, seduction artists, and such, that for a couple $1,000s are telling you you will learn their big secrets and cheat code about life. And a lot of people who can't find mentor otherwise are willing to pony up big time dough to hire them. On the surface, the popularity of online coaching movement is due simply to the desire to want to be great at things. But personally, I think it's really a manifestation of the deeper hunger to be initiated into secret realms, to have knowledge that others don't have. And actually, you see this kinds of language used a lot in personal development forums. People talk about the different level of knowledge you gain and how only 10% of people who study the subject ever really understand that, etc. Sorry, I'm bashing a bit on some real life stuff right there. This is just to make people understand that better. I'm confused with the examples. Are we talking about real life archetypes or characters? Both. Because archetypes, if archetype works so well, that's because you can identify to them in real life. But yeah, for example, a shadow, we're going to see the shadow archetype. We're going to get back to online and to real life people. But this is just a comparison to make you understand that better. But this is over an archetype. And if an archetype is working, that's because it's kind of universal, even regardless of the era that you're looking at, or regardless of the culture or the people, basically. In every civilization, we have this kind of old sage person. The elder of the tribe, the elder of the village, the king, wizard, stuff like that. This is the magician archetype, and this is an archetype because it's a consular. Today in modern politics, it would be the advisor of the president or of the king, something like that. At least in theory, that's what it's supposed to be. But in terms of example, yeah, Tywin Lannister, very good example. Let me start sharing my screen, and we will grab our examples. Yeah, Tywin Lannister is always knowing everything. Next one. Do you have other examples? Do you have other examples of magicians? He gives the best advice. Then we have this guy, Merlin. The legend is the one who advised 1,000 different kings. He's the one teaching Arthur how to become an adult, how to become a loving and educated person before becoming a king. Come on, give me other examples. Oh, this guy. Again, is the guide, is the one guiding Frodo and Bilbo and Aragorn, advising everyone, bringing some kind of knowledge. The magician is like the guide. He's the one able to see the unseen. And you see in the Lord of the Ring, he's able to warn Frodo against the ring. He's the one noticing that detail about Bilbo and the ring, and able to spot that this is the one ring. Yes, and with Philippa. Good example. Next one that I have is this guy, Mr. Uguay. Squalala! Yeah, Mr. Uguay. He's like the old sage in Kung Fu Panda. With Shifu. Is also the old sage. Have other ones. For Ferret, the one and only. The best smile in the world. Look at that smile. Isn't that like the best smile in the world? And she's a guide for Frodo with the light of Elendil. Able to reveal the unseen. I mean, Arwen is very good too. But she's not that much falling into the magician archetypes. But when she's riding with Frodo, she's saying, I know the secret passage through the forest and stuff like that. So this is the moment she has a knowledge that other ones don't have. So she taps a bit into this archetype at some point. Other examples? I love that character. Both of them, they are so good. Yeah, Professor Lupin. He's becoming the mentor of Harry Potter at some point. Basically, every character that is the mentor in any movie, any book, it's always the magician in some ways. Have you seen that movie, The Mask of Zorro? You have if you haven't watched that movie, just watch it. It's so great. But you have Anthony Hopkins playing the old Zorro, training Antonio Banderas to be the new one, and he's the one teaching all the secrets. Hopkins is so great. This guy in Batman Begins. Teaching Bruce Wayne. Huh? Another one that no one thought about. Come on, since superheroes. Who is the archetype of the magician in the superhero movies? Come on. Who? No. It could be Iron Man because he has knowledge that no one else has. Actually, yes. I was thinking about another one. I went back from the future. I saw everything. Yeah, Doctor Strange. Exactly. Yeah, they're the same person. Same with Albus Dumbledore. What can you tell about all those different characters? What do they have in common in terms of appearance? Arwen and Galadriel are maybe the exception, but they are elves. Sherlock Holmes might be. Yeah, actually, Sherlock Holmes is a very good example. This is a very good example. What do they have in common? Almost all of them. There's plenty of different elements that they have in common. What do they have in common? For those who watched that horrible movie that was Aragon, this guy too. This movie was so bad. What do they have in common, guys? In terms of appearance, in terms of visuals, we are trying to harness that towards creating a character that when you see it, you know it's the magician. What are the different things they have in common? A leader hero. Maturity. Cape. Yeah. They seem kind of old. Not all the time. For example, Arwen and Galadriel. But generally they are old. You see, they are always kind of... They have wrinkles. They have gray hair, beards. They're kind of thin and slender. They're not very strong, generally. Because they focus on the intellect part. So they are always displaying some kind of aging clues. Maybe the beard, maybe the gray head, maybe wrinkles. Wrinkles, gray hair, beard. Witch. And I'm gonna get cancelled because of some screenshot. Old beard, wrinkles. 10,000 years, but you don't see it. Thousands of years, but you don't see it. Old. Not old, but beard, thin, old. Generally, that's the beard. In general, that's the beard. Pretty slender, the beard. This very sharp eyes. Those very piercing eyes. You see all of them, they have those very piercing eyes. Piercing eyes. Yeah, Nissan is so great. Piercing eyes. Best face in the world. Piercing eyes. Not the best one, but piercing eyes. Too much boobs. Piercing eyes. The glasses too are often something they have in common. The glasses, because the symbolic of the glasses is, I use that to see better. It's about the sight. Piercing eyes. Why do some magicians have a cloak, a cape? Let's have a quiz. Why, in terms of symbolic, do magicians have cloaks and capes? Exactly, to hide the secrets. Not because they want to hide it, but because they need to reveal it to someone that is worthy of that. Probably too. Nice, you understand. Nice. Let's move into the shadow archetypes. The first one is called the Detached Manipulator. Can also be called the Witch. Can also be called the Witch. The Detached Manipulator or the Witch. The magician in his fullness desire to initiate other people into his knowledge, bringing them up from degree to degree so they can become better and happier persons. The manipulator shadow poses as the magician in his fullness, teases would be initiated with the prospect of learning his secret, but it does not give them all his knowledge. He withholds things from them in order to feed both his pride and his pocketbook. Shadow manipulator charges their seekers a ton of money with the promise that the student can become just like them, but they don't give away the real secret to doing that, and especially the secret that often the student can't become just like them because their own success was due to X, Y, or Z factor that won't happen to anyone else. Back to the internet. The internet has created an army of shadow manipulators. Everywhere look, they are huckster, promising you the secrets of dating women, losing weight, making money online, becoming a superstar. If only you buy the $200 ebook. That's the modern archetype of the shadow manipulator. The carpet seller, the snake oil seller, basically. Shadow manipulators play a prominent role in our cultural stage as well. Wall Street bankers, politicians, ad agencies, media pundits are absolute experts in getting a following by sharing some of the story, but not all of it. I'm not saying it's all of them, Don't want to get political or whatever, but we can all think about some people when I say that. Please don't mention any name. I don't want to start a pit fight in the chat. Other aspect of the manipulator is cynical detachment from other people. I see this shadow in people too often. They are the ones who, when confronted with their inability to commit to anything, be passionate about anything, or enjoy any pleasure in life, would retort with, an examined life is not worth living. Moore summarizes this person's issue very well. This is the man who thinks too much, who stands back from his life and never leaves it. He's caught in the webs of pros and cons about his decision and lost in a labyrinth of reflecting meanderings from which he cannot extricate himself. He's afraid to leave, to leap into battle. He can only sit on his rock and think. The years pass, he wonders where the time has gone, and he ends by regretting a life of sterility. He's a voyeur, an armchair adventurer. In the world of academia, he is a hair splitter. In the fear of making the wrong decision, he makes none. In his fear of living, he also cannot participate in the joy and pleasure that other people experience in their lived life. If he is withholding from others and not sharing what he knows, he eventually feels isolated and lonely. To the extent that he has hurt others with his knowledge and technology in whatever field and in whatever way, by cutting himself off from living relatedness with other human beings, he has cut off his own soul. Give me some examples of manipulators. Let's go. It's easy. It's like your average super villain. Give me an example. Snape. Yeah. Snape is playing that to the square because he's also fooling Voldemort. Yes, Snape. Joker. Joker is so hard to place somewhere. To me, Joker is the archetype of the dummy. To me, the Joker doesn't know anything. So I'm not really sure about that. To me, the Joker doesn't know anything. He's the dummy. It's the opposite. To me, he's like the innocent. We'll see the second archetype this way. The Joker is so hard to place. That's why he's so unpredictable. Bellish? Oh, yeah. Little finger. Yeah. Other ones. Let's go. Gonna lead the charge. Saruman, rest in fucking peace, Christopher Lee. Rest in fucking peace. You're a legend. Saruman is... He knows things. He knows everything. Because you see that with the Palantir. He's not telling anyone about that, and he's using that at his own profit. He's always working with riddles. When he's warning Elrond and Galadriel about dangers, he's not telling everything. He knows that Sauron is the necromancer. He's just not warning anyone about that. Come on, other examples that are pretty famous. Who else? Okay, next one. Still a good example. I was thinking about Scar. To me, Scar is like the perfect example of the detached manipulator. I think I don't have to explain why. He's always fooling Simba and everyone. Is betraying everyone. He doesn't care. He's not revealing the truth. He's lying. He's posing as someone who knows a lot. As the cool uncle. Simba trusts him and get betrayed. Look at that. Yeah, same. She's not. She's basically doing a monkey power on Ariel. Silco, yeah. Spoiler alert about Arcane. As long as I'm raising my hand, this is spoiler zone. 3, 2, 1. One is lying all the time to Jinx. End of spoiler. Silco is so great. But can we have... Am I crazy to say that Silco is basically a mix between Lord Pendleton and the Outsider in Dishonored? Can we agree on that, or am I crazy? During the entire series, I was like, Arcane is like Dishonored with colors in terms of styles and visuals. And this is not a bad thing, by the way. This is like... You see one of the Lord Pendleton, this one, and the Outsider. It's a mix between both of them. And even in terms of clothing, it's the same. It's the freaking same. But yeah, Silco, great example. Next one I had, Judge Frollo. This guy. You can already start to see some kind of patterns right there. I'm gonna change the photo of Saruman. Oh yeah, Monarch Retail. This is the archetype of the witch. This is the witch. 100%. Another witch. This witch. Vortigern. I have not read The Legend of the Sword. This witch. I trust you. Oh yeah. Here's the look. The Witch of the West. I have not read that. I trust you. We'll see. Oh yeah. Maybe a bit too caricatural, I guess. But we're gonna keep that just as an example. Oh yeah, it's from the Magician of Oz. Sorry. I need to revisit my classics. But yeah, we can keep that as the example of the first witch. Yeah. This one. The Evil Queen. John Silver. I have not played Cyberpunk, I'm sorry. I was so not hyped by that game. What are the common points of all those characters on the visual side? Oh, John Silver from the Treasure Planet? My bad. Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah. I mean, kind of in between. Yeah. What is the common point? Oh, we have another one. This guy. Oh, and we have another one actually. This is gonna surprise you. This little guy. What is the common point? They are very well kept, indeed. What else? Valorys? What else? What else do they have in common? Again, it's in the eyes, mainly. It's that kind of snarky look, like, oh, I'm gonna betray you. He's always looking at the side. There's this kind of paranoid stuff. Paranoid appearance. They're very thin again. They look pretty cold in terms of appearance all the time. Unless they are trying to fool someone. With a fake smile. Again, very slender. Posing as a magician. But something we have seen with the magician is that they are always... They have cloaks, but generally it's not very fancy ones. It can be very dirty, very old, because they don't care about their appearance. But with all the manipulators, they still have the cloaks, but it's looking fancy. Magicians, the mature one doesn't care about the look. Except maybe Doctor Strange, because the cloak is so badass. But all of them, they're always posing as... Yeah, they are decorated to appeal. Except the evil queen when she's turning into a witch. And you see too in the face, there's always this kind of pointy nose. Very often. With this one, look, Retail, she has a pointy nose. Silco, long pointy nose. Judge Fro, long pointy nose towards the bottom. Ursula, pointy nose towards the bottom. Scar, well, it's a lion, so it's a bit harder, but still pointy nose towards the bottom. Saruman, same. Littlefinger, same. Snape, very emblematic nose. Maleficent, a bit different. Same with Jafar, pointy nose. Mushu, not that much because he's a good guy. He's doing his best, but at the beginning he's posing as someone he's not. It's all very close to the classical trope of the witch with green face. Yep. Let's have a look. Yep. And very close to the... you see there is this kind of green face, pointy chin. Very, very close to the Witch of the West. She's green too, yeah. Always shrouded, some stuff. You see now that the shroud is completely closed. The cloak is completely closed because she's not revealing anything at all. Gandalf or Doctor Strange, they have an open cloak. So that's an idea of design. You want to design a manipulator, you close everything, you don't reveal the body at all. You want to design a magician, you show up the chest, you have a majestic cloak behind. It shows that, okay, he has secrets, but he's willing to display them. He's not concealing anything. Maleficent, you see in the appearance, she's concealing a lot of stuff. Again, concealing the arms with the big stuff. They're kind of desaturated color, but sometimes they are posing as good character. You see, she has purple. He has a nice clothing. Oh, sorry, this is a spoiler, but whatever. He's in red. So fancy looking, but a bit desaturated. Very fancy color. Again, fancy color and clothing with the makeup and the shell. It's kind of, I mean, it's a lion, so it's kind of hard. Saruman is fully white, so it's kind of hard. And Mother Gretel posing as a very nice with purple burgundy robe. It's always fake. You see, every time she's looking at Rapunzel, sorry, she has this kind of dead inside look. She's not really emotional at all. They have that very cold look. All in that very cold and almost spiteful look. But they are very emotionally detached. They are able to fake emotion pretty well too. It's like the perfect trickster. Makes sense? It's not fake, they have better taste. Yeah, maybe. Anyways. Next one is called the Innocent One, or the Fool. The Innocent is the passive pole of the bipolar shadow. A person possessed by the Innocent Shadow wants all the power, glory, and status that comes with harnessing the Magician Archetypes in his fullness, but he isn't willing to put in the work or take on the responsibility that say power, glory, and status require. They see another people doing something really cool and decide they want to do it too. These are people who get super excited about a new hobby or fate or career path. Their excitement is absolutely coursing through them, but after the easy part has passed, coming up with the name of the band, buying a skateboard, designing the startup logo, they realize how much dead work is required to get really good at the cool thing, and they give up. People are haunted by the shadow of the innocent one want to become millionaires or superstars, but they aren't willing to toil and work years to achieve that. They want to play guitar like Steve Vai, but they give up guitar lesson after just a few weeks. They want to be spiritual, but without all that prayer, meditation, and scripture study business. But the Innocent One's shadow's behavior doesn't stop there, because someone in touch with the Innocent One can never attain or achieve his goal because of laziness. It doesn't want others to achieve their goals and ambitions either. It becomes a stumbling block to others simply out of envy. A man possessed by the Innocent One begrudges the success of others and does all that he can to diminish it. Theodore Roosevelt despised this type of man. To him, a man possessed by the Innocent One was one of the cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. This is the archetype of the crab in a bucket. Do you have some examples? This is pretty hard to find. I don't have that much. It's kind of tough. Magician of Oz, exactly. Let me share my screen. It's that guy, right? What's the name of the magician? It's been such a long time since I've seen that movie. Remember about that scene? The Magician of Oz. I have a good example. This little guy. It depends. Because sometimes he's putting a lot of effort into his mischief. But I think Catman is a good example. Another example is that guy. I would argue that Syndrome is also someone like that. He wants to bring everyone down in some ways. And the last one I have is again, our buddy. This guy. This is the kind of a very entitled character. Again, generally posing very well. Very nice appearance. But what betrays them is always a very paranoid look. And they are very insecure. He's the kind of guy that is very insecure, but because he's very rich or posing as someone very rich, he's covered in Louis Vuitton and stuff like that. Often fake one. That's the example. Trying to compensate through appearance and external signals that is very not confident inside. Same with the Magician of Oz, if I recall correctly, at the end there is some kind of hologram. Yeah, this kind of thing. He's posing as someone he's not. So with Cartman, he's always lying and faking stuff. Do you have other examples? The title of this archetype is the innocent or the fool. He's the one who wants the success and the knowledge, but he's not willing to put the work. And I'm pretty sure we all have some buddies who are like, hey, I'm gonna become the best. But they are just never doing anything. Dragging people down. Hi, Bob, by the way, if you're looking, Bob. I'm pretty sure Bob left the chat and the stream a while ago, but sometimes I'm pretty sure he's still watching. Bob is that perfect example of the fool. Wants all the success. It's like, I want to be working at Ubisoft, but you are not working on your portfolio, buddy. Between you working on your portfolio, telling me you want to work at Ubisoft, and you telling me you want to work at Ubisoft, but playing 16 hours of Valorant per day, I trust you playing Valorant. This is a pretty hard archetype to see all the time, because generally they are opponents to the main character. That's why I really like Draco, is because he's starting in that position. And in the 6th Harry Potter, when he's starting to do his very bad stuff, that scene with the birds is incredible. That scene is absolutely incredible. But slowly but surely, his face is changing. He's starting to have more emotion in his face, to have responsibility. He realizes he has some work to do, that it's not going to be as easy as he felt. You see, he's humble right there. Before, he was so entitled in the look. He was looking so entitled before. Look at that face with the haircut and stuff like that. Again, they are posing a lot. Same with Syndrome. He's like, oh, the shit and stuff like that. No, it's just gadgets. Not superpower. You don't have the shoulder to handle that, because you don't want to use that for good. Do you start to have a grasp about that archetype? It's kind of hard to give examples. If you have other ones, feel free to tell. But those are the only ones that I was able to find. Oh, another one. Our favorite piece of I've ever seen in any series. That guy. Yeah, that little piece of fucking of garbage. Yeah. Yeah, he's a jealous guy. Insecure, jealous, posing. He's always posing, he doesn't deserve the crown and stuff like that. Look at that. That's the perfect example. All right, now speaking of crown, let's move. Yeah, Mushu. Mushu is no. Destroying the dragon statue. No, it's an accident, I guess. It's an accident. To me, Mushu is like the his starting point is the Detached Manipulator. He's posing as the protector of Mulan, and then it comes through a redemption arc when he's like, I am an impostor, your ancestor never sent me, they hate me, a piece of shit. I'm just here to make the coffee for the ancestor, and I'm useless. And then he's going through his redemption arc because he's starting to become useful, basically. Let's move now towards the king. I would love to play the Lord of the Rings music, but I'm gonna get DMCA'd. Cypher. Cypher. In in the Matrix. Oh, this guy. I mean, there's ignorance is bliss, so I'm assuming, yeah. Is a bit apart. In some way, would... To me, he's kind of the guy that never wanted the red pill. It's a kind of tragic character. But he's, in his way of acting, of course, he's trying to destroy the truth and to bring everyone down with him. In some way, yeah, he's the fool. Not completely, but he's encompassing a lot of the characteristic indeed. Yeah. Oh, Agent Smith, by the way, is the perfect detached manipulator too. Again, a witch-like face. I have the sound for that scene. Alright, let's move towards the king. This is going to be very long. This is going to be freaking long for the king. Zuko's sister. Azula. To me, Azula is the tyrant. And the grandstander bully. I've seen the grandstander bully yesterday. And to me, she's the tyrant. We need to see the king to understand everything. To me, Azula and Zuko are not the magician at all. Oh, Uncle Iroh. Uncle Iroh is the perfect magician too. He's the magician and the lover. Zuko is not the lover. He's not the magician. He's the warrior trying to become a king. Just trying to become a warrior and opening up a bit to the lover and to the wisdom of his uncle. And Zuko is starting as the grandstander bully too, like his sister. That's why it's so great, because he's splitting. He was exactly like his sister before, except that he was dishonored. And he's moving in the good direction, while his sister is staying at the same point and self-destroying, basically. That scene when she's screaming like a crazy person completely reflects that she has ruined her life. She has completely ruined her own life. So let's talk about the king/queen archetype. This is the most important of the 4 mature archetypes. Just as a good king in mythological stories is often something of a renaissance person, a good warrior, magician, and lover, the king archetypes incorporates the other three natures of the mature archetypes in perfect harmony. A person who accesses the king archetype in its fullness will also have access to the warrior, the magician, and the lover archetypes. For this reason, the king archetype is typically the last one of the mature archetypes to power up in a person's life, or in a character's life. In this way, it is truly the crown of the other archetypes. The energy that gives a character a sense of his full godlike potential. What are the characteristics of the king? He is centered. Throughout history, cultures have often placed the king at the center of the universe. From him radiated all of existence. If you look at how ancient civilization laid out their cities, you often see that the dwelling place of the king or leader set at the center. In addition to serving as a geographic center of his realm, the ancient king also represented its spiritual center as well. He was the intermediary between heaven and earth. Through his divine power, the king brought order to the universe by reconciling opposite forces. Myths abound of kings battling evil demonic creatures and establish order in chaos, because you have plenty of them. When a character is living the king archetype in its fullness, he feels that same centering power within himself. Not that he believes that the world revolves around him, but rather that his confidence, purpose, and well-being gives him a supreme sense of balance. Even when the world around him becomes chaotic, he remains cool, calm, and collected. He acts rather than reacts. He's the rock during a crisis. A person fully engaged with positive king energy is completely present as a person. Because of his position at the center of things, he can survey everything that is going on, suck it all in, and then take a broad view of things. This overarching perspective allows him to remain immovable in the face of the passing and superficial. Secondly, he is decisive. The king is the executive of other archetypes, and as such, is charged with making decisions. His ability to be decisive is rooted in two things. First, is and what he stands for. Who is and what he stands for, sorry. The king's core values are centered on firm and unchanging principles. So when a crisis comes, he does not waver because he has already determined the course he will take. Secondly, the king seasons his decisions with experience. This is very important, experience. His experiences provide him with practical wisdom, the knowledge of how to do the right thing at the right time for the right reasons. Thirdly, he lives in integrity. The word integrity is related to the root of words like integrate and entire. In Spanish, it's rendered integro, meaning whole. Integrity thus implies the state of being complete, undivided, intact, and unbroken. Integrity really is the bond that holds a person's virtue together. It is the mark of a person who has successfully integrated all good principles. His life is a unified whole. The king has not only integrated all of the other archetypes, but seeks this oneness in other areas of his life as well. He mends broken relationships, keeps his words, acts with honesty, and takes responsibility for his action. He is who he says he is. He doesn't have one set of principles for Sundays and one for the rest of the week. Next, he protects the realm. Historically, one of the king's primary functions was to protect his dominion. While enemy forces encroached on his territory, a king would act with wrathful aggressiveness. Even today, we look at our leaders as protectors. The President of the United States is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, charged with the responsibility of protecting the nation's security. Same with pretty much every other country. While someone might not be a leader of a country, he certainly has his own realms he's responsible for protecting. Whether that protection be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. If you're married with children, your home is a realm, a place you want to make a refuge from negative influence. The department you're responsible for work is another sphere where you work to protect your employee from fighting, mediocrity, and layoffs. and your own psyche and personal boundaries are sovereignties that you must protect and defend with zeal too. By you, it's characters. Bear with me. Whatever your dream may be, when you're accessing the king archetype in its fullness, you do what you have to do in order to protect them, and this often requires accessing the aggressiveness of the warrior archetype. Then, the king provides order. Throughout history, kings have been lawgivers. The first and perhaps most famous of these kings lawgivers was the ancient Babylonian king Hammurabi. This card represents one of history's first written sets of laws. These laws touch on all areas of life for ancient Mesopotamians, including trade, religion, and military service. Other famous kings and lawgivers include Solon of the ancient Athens, Lycurgus of ancient Sparta, and Moses. While technically not a king, Moses was a leader of the ancient Hebrews with the 10 Commandments. Just as these ancient kings provided order to their respective society, so too does someone accessing the king archetype, establishing order in his own life and in the lives of those around him. We see the king manifest itself in us when we establish rules, guidelines, and principles for others to follow. A character accessing positive king energy doesn't create rule just so he can reap the satisfaction of watching people obey him. Rather, his rules provide the structure that allow other people to flourish. Figuring out how to create rules that help instead of hinder people's progress requires the kind of thoughtful reflection that comes from accessing the magician archetype. That's why you need the magician first. You need the lover for empathy, you need the warrior to protect people, you need the magician for reflection. Make sense to you guys? To completely integrate the king archetype in someone's life, it isn't enough to tell others how they should live. A person must also live by those same edicts himself. Before we can provide order for others, we ourselves must become persons of discipline. Then, the king, he creates and inspires creativity in others. According to Moore, mythological kings were often associated with fertility and creation. Many ancient cultures believe that their king's ability to procreate determined the fate of the crops. If the king was lusty and searing numerous progeny, the harvest would be bountiful. But we don't have to father an entire football team in order to access the king archetype. Whenever we take part in any act of creation, whether it might be writing a song, starting a business, or becoming a parent, the king archetype is manifesting itself in our lives. To fully integrate the kings in our lives, however, we must inspire creativity in order as well. A person who is accessing the king archetype understands that his power and influence in the world increases as he empowers others to live their fullest potential. I'm pretty sure just with that, that's why I'm also talking about the family aspect. You have pretty wide range of example for that archetype. Start writing them if you want. Then the king, he blesses the lives of others. Quote from Moore, "The good king delighted in noticing and promoting good people to position of responsibility in his kingdom. He held audience primarily not to be seen, but to see, admire, and delight in his subjects, to reward them and bestow honors upon them." One of the functions of ancient kings was to bless those whom they led. As intermediaries between the gods and earth, the king had the power to bless his people so that they might prosper. In the Bible, for example, we can read several accounts of the great patriarchs leaving a father's blessing on their posterity before dying. We often associate blessing with a religious act, while a person certainly accesses king archetype by giving a father or mother's blessing to his children, just like Jacob and Isaac did. He can also bless others around him in other ways that aren't necessarily religious. Simply recognizing and honoring others for their achievements is a way we can bless others. As we get older, I think we take for granted the power that a kind word can have on a young person's life. This is so important. We're going to talk about that next week. So important. But think back on your own experience. Remember when you were a young person, how did you feel when an older person, especially a person you admired, gave you a compliment or went out of his way to recognize an achievement you made? If you were like me, it made you feel awesome. You might have stuck out your chest a bit more or walk with a spring on your step. You probably still remember exactly what they said to you. That's the power of blessing in action. It uplifts and edifies others. We can also bless others by becoming a mentor. We've talked about the importance of mentorship on basically the Magician Archetypes many times before. But basically the main reason that so many people are struggling today is because they lack positive mentoring from older persons. And more about that argues that young people today are starving from blessing from older people, starving for blessing from the king energy. This is why they cannot, as we say, get it together. They shouldn't have to. They need to be blessed. They need to be seen by the king, because if they are, something inside will come together for them. That is the effect of blessing. It heals and makes whole. That's what happens when we are seen and valued and concretely rewarded for legitimate talents and abilities. As we grow older, wiser, and more in touch with the king archetype, it is our responsibility as person to bless and assist younger person on their path to mature. I know it becomes a bit metaphysical. This is not a life playbook, by the way. This is just all literature. Bear with me, please. But I'm pretty sure we can all see parallels with real life. If our parent tell us something very great, like, hey, I'm proud of you, and they were genuinely thinking that, that's something we remember for your entire life. But when a parent is saying something very cruel to us, like, hey, you're not enough, you are bad, I'm ashamed of you, and this is unfair, it marks you almost like a trauma too. It can destroy a kid. I'm going to talk about that next week. Also, and finally, a king is living legacy. Kings throughout history were obsessed with legacy, in creating empire, building edifice, writing laws, and changing the culture. They sought to become immortal and to leave behind something that will remain subsequent generation of their lives and their greatness. No matter the size of your principality, the desire to leave a legacy is a switch of adultness that cannot be ignored. Happily creating a legacy needs not involve the construction of great pyramids, but can come from any idea, business, tradition, relationship, or thoughts. Anything that changes a person, the world, just a little, and get passed on. Anything that lasts. Let's get to some examples. We have a lot of them. A lot of them. Give me a sec. Aragorn, yeah. When Aragorn is just Strider, he's just the warrior. And when he's fully... At the beginning, he's just the warrior. He's not loving anyone. He's loving Arwen, but at the same time, he's like the important lover because he's like, no, it's impossible. You're an elf. I'm a human. I'm not going to do that. He doesn't want to be king. He's the weakling. We're going to see that archetype is the weakling. He's just a warrior in his fullness. He's already straight, but he's only fighting for himself and for the fellowship. He's starting to become an accomplished warrior when he's bending in front of Frodon like, you have my sword. Before that, he's just a big brute. That he's already displaying good qualities. Don't get me wrong. Then what's going on? There is love that comes to him. With Arwen, with his love for the fellowship, for Frodo, for the hobbits, for him saving the hobbits. That's out of love that is like, okay, we're not going to follow Sam and Frodo, we're going to save the Merry and Pippin. Vander, yes. Vander. vendor, whatever, vendor. Exactly. So first there is love. Then there is the wisdom of Gandalf, which is the magician that is fueling Aragorn. And then, only then, he's becoming the king. Yeah, Wonder. This guy is like the perfect king too. He's taking care of people. Let's check the different criteria. He's centered. He has a strong set of moral codes. He's decisive because he decides for people living in zone. He lives with integrity. He protects zone and the people living there. He provides order in a very chaotic place. He creates and inspires creativity in order and he's inspiring other people in zone. He blesses the lives of others. That's exactly what he's doing by teaching people how to fight and stuff like that. And then he leaves a legacy because there is a statue about him that you see at some point. I don't want to spoil anything about Arcana. Yeah, Vander. Mufasa. Same. He's the good king, providing order, providing the cycle of life, teaching Simba what is the realm, what is good, what is bad. He has a strong set of moral codes. We are not killing too much animals. We are just eating what we need. That's the cycle of life. Scar is killing everyone just to eat more. There's no limits. And again, the loving part of Mufasa is his kid, his realm, and stuff like that. The magician part is Rafiki. And also the omniscient. What is the omniscient part that Mufasa has? Because in the magician you have the wisdom, but you also have the omniscient aspect. What is the omniscient part for Mufasa? The bird, yes, Zazu. Is the eyes in the sky for Mufasa. He's able to see and supervise what he can't because he is able to fly and see what is unseen. That's why Zazu is so important. And you see very often there are different characters that makes one character a king. But without those characters, the king doesn't exist. The king archetype can be created out of several characters at the same time. Same with Aragorn, it is Gandalf, it is the Hobbit, it is everyone basically. Boromir is teaching him love too. Aaron is teaching him love. Frodo is teaching him love. The Hobbits too. Legolas and Gimli are giving him some kind of fun. Legolas is more contemplative. Gimli is more lively and enjoys life. Merry and Pippin are enjoying life. Gandalf is the wise one. Everyone is basically building Aragorn. And Thorin, that's a good example. Thorin, we're gonna see that he's not a good king at all. He's becoming a good king only when he's dead. Yeah. Thorin, I mean, when he's dead, which is, by the way, the most stupid death ever. It's like, there is a guy under the snow. You see him. He watches you. You wait. Leave. Fucking leave. This is the worst death ever. It's like, are you kidding me? He becomes a bad king. At the beginning, he's a good leader, but he's not a king yet. because he's kind of corrupt by his idea, by vengeance and stuff like that, and he's channeling the warrior energy towards vengeance and towards himself, not towards his people first. Then he gets caused by the Arkenstone and the treasure. He's having the treasure sickness, which is a fantastic trope for D&D, by the way. Treasure sickness. That's crazy. And that's only when he's about to die and he's telling people, hey, I'm so sorry. You were such a nice guy. You were right all the time. I was wrong. Should have listened to you more. That's like the entire redemption arc. That's when he's becoming a king. And at the end, there's the ceremony when everyone is around his tomb. And you know at that moment that he has left a legacy. The legacy he left is also the treasures that Bilbo is bringing back. That's how he left a legacy. Also by killing Smaug. Not you, buddy. Dragon, not you. But yeah, Thorin at the beginning is not a good king. You're gonna see that. Another one. Again. Again, she's leaving a legacy. When she's living with Elrond, they are leaving the Middle Earth as a legacy to the humans. I mean, that's Galadriel. That's Galadriel. What else do you expect? You're in front of Galadriel, you will take a bullet for her. You will hit a bullet for her. Oh my god, Bard the Bowman. Holy shit. That... I mean, in the book, that's good. In the movie... Can we talk... Can we please talk about that scene? Can we talk about that shit? What the heck is that? Technically, look at the arrow. It's made of metal. This kid would have become headless. Just with the power of the bow. To propel such a big and heavy arrow that far to kill a fucking dragon. This kid should be headless. This is like the worst scene ever and the most humiliating death for that character. Why are you not using this? Why are you not using your bow? Because it's broken before, but just use a second one or throw the arrow. Do something, but not something such as nonsensical as that. What were they thinking? It's like MacGyver. To me, it ruined everything. It was the beginning of the third movie. It's like the worst death ever for a dragon. This is humiliating. There has been such a big teasing about Smaug at the end of the second movie. He's like coming out of the gold. It's like the second boss phase, basically, in Resident Evil, when the boss is transforming. When you're fighting a boss in Dark Souls, you're like, okay, that's it. And then he's transforming. You're like, oh my god, shit. You're like... And you're pissing yourself. This is so humiliating for that dragon. Sorry, I went on a rampage. Yeah, I've got a bit off topic, sorry. Okay, King Arthur. Richard Lionheart. Let's pick the Disney one. Let's not pick the historical painting. Let's just pick one of the fantasy tropes, like this one. Galadriel is a bit of an exception. Let's pick Thorin. Let's pick Mufasa. The full picture of Mufasa. You can already start. Yeah, Richard Lionheart is historically not a good king, I know, and it gets destroyed by Gidebar. I know, but let's keep it Disney-like, okay? Bear with me. I know. Let's pick Mufasa. Entirely, please. Let's pick Argon King. My god, that scene. Oh my god. That scene. This freaking scene. We can have Ned Stark. We can have Iron Man. Endgame. I'm gonna pick that one. Oh, this is a painting. Come on. Can you give me not a painting, please? There we go. In terms of common points, visually speaking, what do you have? Galadriel is a bit of an exception, I'm sorry. Captain America, does he leave a legacy? Captain America for me is the warrior. In terms of visuals, aside from the armor and stuff like that, what else do you have? By the way, on a lot of them, there are some armors. See? Same. Every king in classical painting was often showed with armors and weapons to represent basically the warrior aspect, and there was often some kind of religious sign to represent the magician. And there were often some dogs and some kids and stuff like that around to represent love. And some fruits. If you check, you see, this is not a military king, but you have the religious signs, you have the sensory overload with the fabric and stuff like that, to represent the loving aspect. In terms of common point visually, you have showing some very wide chest. You have some kind of wide chest. You have the cloak. You always have the crown. Ned Stark is a bit different. Iron Man, instead of the crown right there, I would say the armor itself. The triangle is some kind of crown. Thorin has no crown yet. At the end, he has one. Mufasa, that's the main. Argon has a crown. The King Archetype is the easiest one. Let's pick Vendor. Please don't spoil it. Again, Vendor, very wide. This is the exact reason why you want the King Archetype to have wide shoulder to carry people, to protect people. I don't want to spoil anything. Come on. Oh, yeah. Get my point? Okay, why? Wide, kind of muscular, some religious sign. You see you have the cross right there. The cross. Cross on the crown. The biggest symbol is the crown. Crown and the ability to fight. You display that in whatever way you want. You can get the Narnia witch. But the witch, she's not as wide. Oh, never mind. She is wide actually, thanks to the cloak. She's also warrior queen. Fighting with some... she has some weapons. She has some ways to display that she's aggressive. And outside of that, just the spikes. And the very mane-like aspect of her hair. Enough to bring the savage aspect, the violent aspect. Get my point? You could even argue that Maleficent, she has some kind of crown. It's spiky, so it shows the ability to be dangerous. Get my point? Let's talk about the shadow parts. So, the active shadow form of the King Archetype is called the Tyrant. Unlike the King Archetype, which creates and blesses others, the Tyrant... Oh, speaking of blessing. Speaking of blessing. Richard Lionheart in Robin Hood, the Disney one, is letting Robin Hood marry Lady Marian as a blessing. Absolving from being a thief. Aragorn. The blessing of Aragorn. What are the two different blessings that Aragorn is doing when he's becoming a king? He's doing two different blessings. I was not thinking about the ghost, but that's the third one, yeah. But in the scene, when he's becoming the king, he's doing two different blessings. Addressed to two different parts of Pinnacle. Making Pippin a knight, this is one form of blessing. I was thinking about the movie, but in the book, yeah, Pippin is becoming a knight. So that's definitely a blessing. I think the first blessing he's doing is the speech, then the song to the people. I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen in the movie. You see that once they are back, but I'm pretty sure you don't see that in the movie. But to me, the first blessing he's doing is his big speech, unifying the different people together and stuff like that. You see Elrond was also blessing Aragorn from king to king by letting him marry Arwen again and smiling for the first time while seeing Aragorn. And to me, the biggest blessing is that scene when he's bending over Frodo, and then everyone else is bending. And you have the music, and everyone cries. That scene is like the absolute climax of the movie. This is some kind of blessing too. Anyways, let's get back to the dark side. So yeah, unlike the king archetype which creates and blesses others, the tyrant seeks to destroy and tear. Plagued by narcissism, he really does think that he sits at the center of the universe. The tyrant wrongly believes that power is finite. He has a scarcity mentality. He doesn't understand the truth that power and influence actually increase the more you share it with others. Thus, the burden of maintaining his fragile illusion of absolute power makes him very insecure. Any threat to his authority and supremacy enrages him and causes him to lash out with abuse, physically, emotionally, or mentally. When the tyrant isn't viewing others as a threat and putting them in their place, he sees them as objects to exploit for his own gain. He is willing to push his friends, family, and employees under the bus in order to further his goals. We see the tyrant manifest himself in this manner when businessmen or politicians further their own career at the expense of the people under their stewardship. I'm continuing also on the second archetype because both are actually tied, and it's very hard to distinguish each other. The second one is called the Weakling. The Weakling is the passive shadow of the king archetype. Instead of taking control of his life and resolutely making decisions, a man possessed by the Weakling often abdicates his throne to others, handing over the power, responsibility, and control of his life to them. This is the man who, through grown up, still lets his mother or father make his decision for him. This is the person who kowtows his boss or his wife's every whim. This is also the person who was abused in some way as a child. When he becomes an adult and ascends into a position of power, relishes the opportunity to turn tables and become the bully himself. Know that I'm in charge, things are going to change around here. But even in a position of power, the Weakling's insecurity gets the best of him. He becomes paranoid that people are out to get him, and they often are because he's such a judge. The paranoia leads him to become even more controlling and cruel, thus becoming the tyrant. Moore believes that the Weakling and tyrant shadows work in tandem with each other. It's rare that a person is ruled by one and not the other. Underneath every blustering tyrant is a scared Weakling, and underneath every cowering Weakling is a tyrant waiting to explode. Give me some examples. There are plenty of them. Please, no politician name. Please. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Torment is the Weakling. Joffrey. Joffrey is both the Weakling and the Tyrant. Again, from the Lion King, Scar is both a Weakling because he knows that when and if Simba comes back, Scar is done, basically. Because everything he built was on a lie. On the lie that Simba killed Mufasa. He's, at the same time, he's paranoid and also tyrannical. Again, Frollo, same. He's a tyrant. Look at that. He's sadistic. Jon Snow is a weakling at the beginning, but then he's becoming a warrior. Yeah. Judge Frodo, good example. Again, Thorin. He's not that much of a weakling, but he's very paranoid that someone stole the Arkenstone, and he's becoming a tyrant for a moment. Yeah, I know. I've only watched the first 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, and it pisses me off so much that I stopped. But yeah, I trust you. Another one that might surprise you. Alex, Madagascar. He's the first one to think that the world revolves around him. And then I discovered that, no, indeed, is to respect the life, the choices of, for example, the zebra Marty. Need to respect the choices. Another example, this guy. Even in terms of shapes, he's the weakling. He's so small. Quad Lord Farquaad on a quad riding a quad. It was a meme like that. It was kind of fun. Oh yeah, this guy. Remember that scene? I'm the king now. Obey my orders. For example, this guy. I love that scene. I love that picture of the tomato. It looks like a vampire with blood and stuff like that. It's so great. He has blood on his hands, basically. Such great cinematographic detail. And now in that scene, he's becoming the weakling. Purely the weakling. Before he was the weakling and the tyrant. Now it's just the weakling. Another one. Woody. He starts as a tyrant. He's becoming very insecure when there is buzz coming. You see the tyrant and the weakling narrative every time some kid gets a little brother or a little sister and gets jealous. He's thinking, oh my god, daddy and mommy won't love me again. It's all for little baby now. Makes sense? Oh my god, this movie is not aging well. This is not aging well at all. My god, what is that bug? Right there. Oh my god. This is not aging well at all. 2 questions. On a story and character development standpoint, not on a visual standpoint, what do they lack? They are all lacking one virtue. that is making them prone to become a tyrant? What is the kind of virtue that they are lacking, and where is it coming from? Self-confidence, that's the first one. This is coming from the heroes one. There is another one. From another archetype. That's why we needed to treat those archetypes in that specific order. Lack of empathy, exactly. Good job. Are all lacking empathy. That's how you recognize a psychopathic person. They all have that very cold and angry look. They have anger. Don't have love for anyone except themselves. On a visual standpoint now, this is a bit tougher. Why is he wearing a lightsaber? On a visual standpoint, what is the common point? It's very hard. The throne? Yep. I would also say that generally they are pretty unkept. They are posing again as noble, but they are pretty unkept. Maybe the hair that are shabby at the end. Not Farquaad, I mean, he is small and his hair is kind of ridiculous. He's shabby at the end too. Alex is becoming very shabby. The more he's doubting, the more shabby he's becoming. Boring. When he's becoming crazy, his hair is becoming wider and wider like a mane. He's becoming savage. Same with him. The more angry he gets, the more savage his hair become. My god, what is that? Same with Scar. He has the big scar in his face. And Joffrey, I mean, we know he's finishing and he's already pretty unkept on his face. With the crown completely messing up his hair. But yeah, it's mainly the look, the very cold and psychopathic look. Sadistic look, I would say. And when someone is a tyrant, logically, they are also the active shadow of all the other of them. So when someone is a tyrant, it's also the detached manipulator, and also the sadist, or the warrior, and also the impotent lover. Or the addicted lover, but towards them. Get my point? So, now, let's have a game! Let's have a game!
Wow!
Give me a sec. I'm just going to grab the this. I'm gonna open Photoshop. It's going to be fun. 30 minutes before I have to leave. There we go. Sorry for the quality, but whatever. As I said, it was supposed to be masculine, but it's pretty universal now. So... Yep. We have this. And now... we are going to do psychological portraits of characters. Yeah. Let's start with Overwatch. Woo! So let's start with Anna. I'm just going to grab their picture. There we go. We have Anna. I'm just putting the picture on the side. Okay, we have Anna. So, if we had to do some kind of graph, of course, we are almost only looking at the adult versions, but some of the characters have some childlike attitudes. So if you have to do for Anna, yeah, Anna has the magician vibe a bit. I will say this far. Not totally. But she's kind of old. She's always like, I have some quotes actually.
Children, behave. Follow me if you want to live. I didn't forget about you.
So yeah, she's in the Magician Archetypes. Let's have a look at the silhouette actually. I'm gonna do my best to split that. It's not the most convenient. But yeah, Anna, she has the cloak, she has the robe, but at the same time, she's open. So yeah, the Magician Archetype. Does she have other archetypes with her? Yeah, exactly. She's a military. She's also a bit of the warrior. Not that much. I mean, actually, let's get back to the criteria of the warrior. Is she really aggressive? She knows what to be. She's a grandma with guns. Does she have a purpose? Yeah. Is she mindful? Yep, she's always alert and awake with the sleep dart and stuff like that. Is she adaptable? Yep. She's running light. Is she minimalist in some way? Is she decisive? Yes, she's one of the leader of Overwatch. Is she skillful? Yes. Is she loyal? Yes. Is she disciplined? A lot. Is she emotionally detached? Should she be called upon that? Yeah. Is she a creative destroyer? She can be. Yeah, so Anna, warrior, no problem. Is Anna with the archetype of the king or the queen? In my opinion, yes. Because she's leaving a legacy. She's fighting for that. And is she a lover? She's a mom. And she's the first one to protect the kids. Basically, if you have those three, then you can potentially access the king. So you need to do that in order. 1, 2, 3, 4 all the time. Let's remember about that. That's for Anna. Next. Ash. Is she a lover? Where does she stand on the lover archetype? Let's talk about the lover first. To me, she's the important lover. She hates everyone. She's like a rich girl. That's what we saw with like Nelly Olsen. To me, in the warrior, she's the sadist. Is she a magician? No. To me, she's a manipulator. Can she access the king? Not really. She's not really the... She's kinda on the tyrant spectrum. She's not that much of a weakling, but she's more on the tyrant spectrum, in my opinion. Can we agree on that? Hiding behind Bob? Yeah, true. To me, she's like commenting, but she's not really hiding behind. But whatever, let's put... I would say a spectrum like that. More of a tyrant than a weakling. And you see with the eyes. Anna, she has the cloak. She has the eye patch for the warrior and the weapons. She's concealed but revealed at the same time. And she has this filled with emotion eyes. Ash, red eyes. Sadistic look. Pointy nose. She's kinda concealed. With the especially with the... You see, she has one patch of hair in front of her eyes to conceal her. Makes sense? Baptiste. I don't know the story of Baptiste very well. I quit when Baptiste got released. You're gonna lead me on that one. Let's keep Baptiste. I'm sorry for Baptiste fan, but I'm not versed enough. Let's go to Bastion. I love Bastion. I love Bastion. Bastion is a tricky one. Yet a very simple one. Where is Bastion? Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bastion is a lover, exactly. To me, that's kind of strange because at the same time, especially at the beginning, he was the dreamer. He was just hanging out in nature, looking at birds and stuff like that. And now he's just a lover. He doesn't want to fight. He just wants to experience nature once he came back in the forest in the movie. He's a magician. No, he doesn't know anything. He's like the innocent. He's not even the innocent one. He's like the dummy. He doesn't know anything. He's even outside of the spectrum. He's nowhere, basically. He's at absolute zero. And he doesn't care. Is he a warrior? He's definitely not a sadist. He's not a masochist. Is he a hero? Not even sure. Is a coward? Not either. Is a bully? Not either. Again, it's no way. He's just a pure lover. And again, you see that in the design of Bastion with the bird. Just to have a bird sit on your shoulder, it means you are pretty calm, pretty chill. Plus, you have the bird nest, you have the especially in the animated shot with the plants and stuff like that. He's just one with nature. That's enough to show that he's a lover. Make sense to you? Oh, Brigitte. I must confess something. This will be clipped, I guess. One of my Smurf accounts, I wanted to Smurf on Brigitte. My Smurf account email address is brigittewaifu.gmail.com. Yeah, Brigitte is a warrior, of course. She's a pure warrior. Is she completely to the warrior? I'm not sure. I think she's standing just a bit on the masochist side. Because she's still young, she's still impetuous, and she's not cold-headed yet. She's still a bit a flamboyant personality. She has a very flamboyant. But sometimes you have Torbjorn and Reinhardt like, hey, calm down, girl. Calm down. You are putting yourself at risk. But she's young. That's why she's not fully matured yet. Is she a lover? Is she a dreamer? She's still a child, technically. Where is she on that place? Is she a full lover? Not sure. But she's cultivating a lot of muscles and stuff like that. She's walking. She has definitely a bit of the magician. To me, she's the precocious child. Not the magician yet because she's young, but she knows how to invent stuff and how to make stuff. To me, she's like the Oedipal child. Not fully developed yet, but not in a bad spot either. Is she a king or a queen? Not. Not yet. Too young. And this is not a critique, by the way. This is never a critique. Oh. Let's talk about Macri, not Cassidy. Holy shit. Why?
Howdy.
Oh dear McCree. Where is he? On the lower side. Where is he? My boy.
Easy. Hey there.
Kinda hard. We don't really know. I think Macri is kind of a girl chaser. Or at least he has been. Lover and Moma's boy. I would say Oedipal child, to be honest. Even very close to Dreamer. That's so hard. Let's say right there. Let's say right there. It's so tough. It's shrouded in mystery. Warrior. Where is he? Yeah, exactly. To me, it's the warrior in his fullness. He's very cold-headed. Top warrior. Yeah, no problem. He's a magician. To me, Macri is a bit of the trickster. Oh, he's a bit of the dummy, so sorry. He's pretending he's a bit stupid. But he's not. It's just my opinion. He's like a Right there. Like right there, to be honest. That's my opinion. Can he be a king? No. And again, you see you have these detached eyes, but he still has emotion. The cigar. Can I attach him to the lover side a bit because he's smoking and stuff like that, but it's not a very good thing in some way. He's shrouded. That's why I would say the denying one, because it is a bit shrouded to blur his movement. He's using some tricks with the grenades and stuff like that. That's why he's kind of... It's a bit between the denying one and the trickster. But we have seen that it's like an archetype within an archetype. Next. Diva. Oh, this one is funny. I have no idea where she stands. Where does Diva stand? On the lower side. To me, that's the mama's girl. That's the daddy's girl. 100%. What do you think? She's very self-centered. She's always like, no, no fair.
Ah, no fair.
What do you think? Daddy's girl? A little child in between? What do you think? I would say right there. Important. To me, it's not even that she can't love, it's just that she's young. She's just self-centered like a kid. Yeah, same as with video games and stuff like that, but it's not good for her. I would say child. Between those, I would say. Yeah, she's a young celebrity. That's why I would say the mama's boy. Warrior, where is she? Where is she? To me, she's right there. That's really Misaki because she plays to win. She's already fighting for Overwatch, which is good. But at the same time, she likes to stun people. She's the first one to rage when she's losing. So this is something right there. She's on her way towards the warrior path. But she's still a bit sadist because she's still finding some stuff related to herself. Like, I don't want to be stumped. I don't want to lose. I play to win. So it's still ruining her in some way. In terms of magician, does she know anything? To me, she's like the precocious child. She's very good at video game. She's a young celebrity. But to me, this is like the precocious side, this little prodigy. You agree with that? Next. Doomfist. Yep. Doomfist is interesting. In terms of lover, why is he? To me, is right in between, right here. Mid bottom. In terms of warrior, where is he? To me, in terms of warrior, I would argue he's not that bad. Definitely towards the sadist, because he's evil. Again, he's standing for some stuff. Is he a magician? As of magician, I would say it's probably somewhere right there. Because he's the only one knowing how to handle the Doomfist. And because Doomfist has been a legacy, to me, somewhere, some way, he's also part of the King archetype. Even though it's heading towards the Tyrant, because he's not harnessing it for good, but he's leaving a legacy. And the fist is his crown. You get my point? But in terms of face, he still has emotion. He has the big, squared head, very wide statue of the king. So to me, this fits the king perfectly. A warrior king, for sure. An evil king, maybe. Or neutral. I would say Doomfist is neutral, actually. I don't know Echo enough. Let's talk about Genji. Genji is interesting. Let's actually oppose Genji and Enzo together. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to move at around 30, 35. We're gonna put Genji in red, Enzo in blue. Genji. To me, he's a great lover. He's a lover because he learned, thanks to Zenyatta and to Mercy, to enjoy life again. Even though he's a robot now. He's a full lover. Is he a warrior? Of course, he's a full warrior. Is he a magician? To me, thanks to Zenyatta and his meditation, he's some kind of a lover, of a magician too. Can he be a king though? Not sure. But in the past, yeah, Genji has definitely been the dreamer while Hanzo was the mama's boy. Definitely. Genji was the coward when Hanzo was the bully. Sure. Hanzo on the other side. To me, Hanzo now is the addicted lover. He's addicted with his own ego and greatness. Is he a warrior? To me, he's more... It's just kind of neutral, to be honest. It's kind of hard. Is it in the middle? Yeah, he also has some masochistic stuff. He's kind of ashamed of what he has done. But Enzo is kind of on the verge of going on a redemption path. So to me, Hanzo is not even there. To me, Hanzo is actually just the hero. And his redemption arc has not started yet. Is he a magician or something like that? Not at all. And that's what he is missing. To start growing. And is he a king? Technically, he's a prince. But for now, nothing is realized. No, there's nothing. They are contrasting each other so much. On every aspect. Next. Junkrat is super interesting. Is Junkrat a lover? To me, Junkrat is the dreamer. Like the pure dreamer. Is he a warrior? Not at all. To me, he's a bully. To me, he's a bit of in between Grand Standard and the coward, to be honest. He's a breaker of rule. Yeah. To me, he's right there. He's a child. Is he acting like a child? Is he a magician? Not at all. Maybe a trickster. Probably more of a dummy. Because he's not knowing that much. But he's able to fool people still. Like, acting like he's unpredictable, like a bit like the Joker, you see. He's a king? Not at all. Maybe. Lucio. Where is he? Lucio, is he a lover? Of course he loves music. Is he a warrior? He's starting to become one and he's fighting for his people, so I would say yes. Is he a magician? I would say precocious child. He knows how to do music pretty well. Does he have any wisdom out of that? Not yet. Is he a king? In some way, he's already the divine child because he has the legacy of his music behind him. And he's already a very big icon for Brazilian people. I'm gonna speed that up a bit. May. Oh, May is interesting. Because May is a child. Is she a lover? To me, she's still the Oedipal child. She likes making snowman. She's like, I'm gonna put a rock in my snowball. She's playing. She has a pretty childish, a bit like a Disney princess appearance. I'm pretty sure there are some Disney princess reference in the art book about May. Is she a magician? No, she's a precocious child. She's a very talented scientist, but she has no big chunk of wisdom yet. Is she a warrior? She's on the verge of becoming one. She's the hero and borderline the warrior. Is she a king or a queen? Not at all. She's not leaving a legacy yet. Because she's just the rookie. Mercy, she is so interesting. And I could almost oppose Mercy and Moira. Mercy. I think we can all say that Mercy is love. Like or 5,000. Is she a warrior? In some way, yes. Give me a sec. Is she a magician? Maybe she's like the precocious child. She has knowledge about medicine, but not that much able to bring that to other people in a physical way. She's not a mentor, basically. She's not a mentor. Is she a queen? She's protecting, granting fertility and stuff like that. She has rebuilt Genji. She's blessing people. Maybe not fully, but pretty close. Moira, on the other hand, I had to speed that up. Moira. Yeah, she has the legacy of her earning technology. Yeah, that's why. Moira, is she a lover? Not at all. Is she a warrior? She's kind of a sadist. Is she a magician? Full witch archetype. She's looking like a witch. Pointy nose. Sadistic look. Smirky smile. She's concealed with tubes and stuff like that. She has claw-like hands. Is she a queen? She's kind of an evil queen. She's like the absolute opposite of Mercy. Even in terms of shapes and color and stuff like that. I'm gonna skip Orisa. Farah. Oh my god. My baby. My favorite. My only one. To be Farah. Where is she? Is she a lover? Is she a lover? To me, not really. To me, she's borderline on the dreamer side. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get back to Orisa after. Sorry. I'm gonna have to stop after in like 5 minutes. But to me, Farah is not really loving that much. She's so disciplined and stuff like that. To me, Farah is like full warrior, like too much. At the detriment of all the rest. She's not a wizard. To me, she's like the dreamer. Not a queen yet. She's so absorbed in walking her mother's shadow. Let's get back to Orisa. Sorry. Orisa. Orisa is kind of tough. Maybe Orisa. To me, she's like the Oedipal child because she's pretty new. Not white at all. Because she has no experience. Already a warrior. Is she a warrior in her fullness? I'm not sure. I think she's the hero. She's Effie, that's true. Yeah. I think the only difference with Orisa is that she's put to duty already. While Bastion doesn't give a shit about what's going on outside the forest. So Orisa is the hero. She's still a child. I mean, she's still this. She's just this way. Reaper. Oh my god, Reaper. Reaper. Divine Child. There's a lot of hope for her. Yeah, indeed. Maybe Divine Child. I think it's Effie the Divine Child, actually. Reaper. Is he a lover? No. Is he a magician? Doesn't give a shit. Is he a warrior? Is a full, like... There you go. Is he a king? He's a tyrant. He wants to leave a legacy of terror and pain. Reinhardt. I'm gonna skip some of them. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do them very quickly after I need to go. There's Reinhardt.
Hello.
I mean, we see that. We can see that on his face already. He has a crown. And he's a warrior with armor. So you know he's a full warrior. He's a full lover. He loves Brigitte. He loves Anna. He loves everyone. Is he a magician? Not that much. Almost a dummy in some way. But is he a king? To me, he's like on the path because when he was young, he was stupid. And then in the cinematic, when his mentor dies and stuff like that, he becomes serious. And he's like a mentor for a lot of people in Overwatch. And everyone is counting on him. So to me, he's a king. He's a protector of the group. Every class that is protecting has some kind of king potential. Sadistic, Grandstander Bully, Detached Manipulator, Full Warrior, Borderline Masochist, Noidal Trickster, Moma's Daddy's Girl. The Sombra Daddy's Girl. Noidal Trickster. Symmetra. Impotent Lover. Warrior. Detached Manipulator. Kind of a queen. Evil queen. Torbjorn is a full lover. Just a bit of a warrior, but not that much. He's a big magician though. Tracer. Full lover. Full lover. Is she magician? No, she's even a precocious child. Warrior, definitely. King, queen, not that much, but divine child for sure. Widowmaker, lover? No, impotent lover. Warrior, sadist. Magician, not that much. King, queen, not really. Winston, full lover. Magician, definitely a bit. Warrior, definitely a bit. King, in some ways, yes, because he's the one who has created Overwatch. Hammond, multiple child. Precocious child. Hero. That's pretty much it. Zarya, lover. Just a bit. Maybe addicted lover because she's kind of in the extreme. Warrior, definitely. Magician, not much. King, not that much. Zenyatta, lover to the same level as Mercy. Warrior, not at all. Magician, over the top. King, unfortunately, is one of the last one of his kind, but he's on a good way towards the kinghood. Or to be the council of a king. And to me, that's interesting. I'm wondering what's going on with Genji in terms of story. Because he's advising Genji. And Mercy too. That's it. Sorry, I have to cut it short. I have a D&D session in like 30 seconds. Hope you enjoyed these 3 days of presentation. It was pretty cool to do, by the way. Hope you learned something. As always, you know the jazz. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to like, subscribe, join us on Twitch to comment and play those games together. Feel free to join the Discord down below. You can support the channel by subscribing on Twitch. Or helping me financially. You can book a consultation. Send me a message on Discord if you want. By the way, join our community. And also, if you want to support the stream, support the channel, just recommend that to as many person as you can that you know will benefit from that. Anyways, I'm sorry I have to cut it short. Take care, guys. And see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we are talking about the hero's journey and the modern myth. It's going to be fire again. Have a nice evening and take care, guys.